Welcome to the Strategic Oracle, the transmission space where timing meets soul and wealth begins with the rhythm. Let's begin. Two things. One is, I hear from so many people, I want all the big things. I mean, think about it. That's my business, right? So I have lots of conversation with people about what it takes in order for big change, massive transformation, huge impact to materialize in your life, right? It starts off with big dreams. Of course it does. Starts off with an open mind. It starts off with crystalline vision. That's only the beginning, though. It's what happens after all of that that can make it real. And so today what I want to talk to you about is something, I said two things, is something that I presented in Dallas a few months ago. And I thought, you know what? I really want to do it here because I can. So we're going to go and jump into that. So when you think about, I want big change, I have this big dream, I'm opening myself up to this massive yes. Now what? What immediately comes after that is follow through. But you know that I'm not an accountability coach. I'm not a life coach. I'm not any of that. I am someone who is going to help you become you and more of you. Now, we can say it's opening up to your full potential. It is standing in your power. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. It's bringing your future back to you so that you then can realize it now, clearing up all the conditioning and any of the limits and all the yuck that you're carrying around that probably isn't even yours, but you've taken on. I want to talk about changes upon you, whether you want it or not. And now what are you going to do about it? How's that? Because even if you're not searching for it, even if you're someone, again, because I'm not in a room with you, you're not in my client world, maybe you've just come upon this podcast, maybe it's the first time that you're here. So all the things about like, yeah, I have this big dream and yeah, I'm in my full potential. That might not be why you're here. You might be here because change is forced upon you because that's a whole thing that's happening. So now what? Now it's unbelievably imperative that you understand how your power works. Because one thing that I know for sure is that you will not get external results that exceed your internal energetic imprint. Saying that a different way, if your power and authority and command and value do not stand up to what it is that you're dreaming of or what goals you've set, you will not achieve them. Period. End. So you want your internal value that directly drives your wealth and your success and your impact to be as robust as it possibly can be. And that's the power equation. So we're going to look at power and we're going to look at what impedes power for just a brief, I'm just going to paint a big swath on that, but we're really going to go into how is your power working for you? And I call that the 4 power mirrors. So power, the big swath of how you could be limited and what happens to you can be completely external and have nothing to do with you. We have AI driving things. We've got political infighting going on that is relatively lawless. So we've got these weird, big, huge money bubbles that aren't actually helping out the common person. We have got overwhelm just with the sheer volume of noise that is out there. We have got uncertainty that has been maximized to the nth degree because there is no leadership. The list goes on, right? So this is all the external stuff that is so that's the big swath of things. But guess what? That does affect you because when you feel uncertain, there are certain things that then there are reactions that happened. When you are trying to find your way above the noise, there are certain things that happen to your mind and then therefore affect your power. Right? But then there's the personal stuff, which we're not going to get into right now because this is the podcast and you're not in my world, right? So if you were, I could go into your limiting beliefs. We could go into clearing your pathway. We could go into, ritual to get rid of the blocks that you have. We could go into, doing exercises for removing the ancestral. I don't want to say nonsense, but I'm going to say nonsense. We could look at your soul DNA and we can rewire it and we can readjust cellular memories. We can do all those things. I can't do those on the podcast, so I'm not going to. If you are interested in some of those things, guess what? You still want to stay in the podcast world? Go listen to the lunar rituals. I do some of that there. So, but here today, I want to talk about the 4 power mirrors. And so those big swaths of pressure, they're amplified and continuing to be amplified. And I was talking to somebody the other day, one of my clients who's in the world of SEO, and I said to her, the innovative pressure is not going to relent for 7 years. Fact. The pressure of adjusting how we deal with uncertainty is not going to let up for the next 20 years. Fact. The pressure to break free and be truly yourself is ongoing for 14 years. Fact. So these are big, huge number of years. So let's try to let's learn something about ourselves today. And let's see how we can discover how our power, how we give it away, and how we can look for ways that it becomes evident so that we don't react, so we respond, and then so we recalibrate our internal energetic imprint because we want to achieve the goals that we want to achieve. So power is the key. Honestly, totally, again, you don't have to feed the mind 80 million times a day. You then create these beautiful power postures, power positions, power situations, power circumstances, power partners, all the things, and it makes your life 1 million times easier. The antithesis of that is how you're limiting your power, it's a misnomer to say giving it away. That's only one of them. But guess what? I just did it, right? So let's go in to these energy leaks, these power leaks, these ways that they just it becomes like a yard sale of your power. These are drains on your capacity. So the first one does involve the mind. So the first one, it's funny because when I stand in rooms and I can see people reacting, they don't like to react to the first one. And honestly, because they're waiting for the next 3. But let's be honest here. You're in your own space. You're not looking around at anybody else. Let's be completely honest. And oh, by the way, most people say, crap, they're all 4. Yes. But what we're looking for right now is which one really, really, really stands out to you. So the hollowing out mirror is when the mind runs amok. What ends up happening is we have created a scenario for ourselves that we've been lying to ourselves for a really long time. And what happens is every single time we say yes to something and it's really a no, or every single time we say no because someone else has attributed something to us, or it's an old story that we're running through our head, we are eroding our self-trust. This is the biggest thing that happens. And honestly, this is the one that people will not nod to in a room. And guess what, for fellow speakers out there, anytime you know something and no one's nodding, it's because it's too true for them to admit. That's okay. That's okay. No worries, right? So we are comparing ourselves to other people. We are rewriting our memories to match other people's expectations. We are having a negative self-talk, loop in our heads that may not have come from us at all. And yet, here it is, and it comes up too often. And it most often comes up when we are pushing ourselves for growth. So I often say, your mind is not your friend when you're going through growth, and your mind is the first one to just literally hollow you out. And so think about any time you're in a room and then you start second guessing what you said. Think about any time that you know you want to pick up, whether it's the phone or the computer for email or respond to a text or, do something out there there's a little bit edgy for yourself. And you're like, crap, what is this person going to think? How am I going to get their attention? That's the outreach side of it. But the inbound side of it is somebody's asked you for something, or you're in a room or a group or a workshop or a webinar or whatever, and you're being pressed for something and you're like, oh, I can do it this way. And you're all on fire. And then you walk away and then the fire goes away. You're hollowing yourself out, 100% hollowing yourself out. So let's not do that. Let's trust our instincts. Let's really be in a position and posture, not for comfort, but for a solid foundation. And let's say yes and mean it, and no and mean it. And let's be true to ourselves. And anytime that negative self-talk loops comes, let's literally ask it, is this my voice or somebody else's? If not, let's energetically block it. And if so, then let's do an affirmation of I am enough. I achieve my goals. I am the whatever your title is. I have proven myself, like whatever it is, an I am statement, an I have statement, and anything in that positive way. Because we want to reprogram this, because the hollow out mirror is insidious. And it's the secret one that's like so mysterious and so hidden, but then it comes and you're like, crap. So we want to stop it in its tracks. Okay, this next mirror, everybody nods to. Every single person that I talk to nods to this mirror. So I wanted to go through the one first that you're like, nah, or it's the one that's like kind of secret or it's surprising. This one's not. The giving mirror is not. Every single person nods their head when I start talking about this, because we know we're handing our power to other people. We people please our way to exhaustion. We overgive without reciprocity. We make others' approval the currency for our self-worth. I mean, look at how fast I can say those things. They just literally roll right out of my mouth because they are so prevalent. And I am going to give you an example of someone, just because we all can nod our heads, but I want to have an articulation of this that you'll remember, so that you can say, gee, the hollow out mirror, I've got to watch out for. But the giving mirror, I know to be true. But just because you know it to be true doesn't mean you shouldn't do something about it. So I'm going to give you a story about someone else so that you can actually see this. So oh my God, I adored this client. I adore all my clients. And then there are some that I'm like, ooh, a little bit different. Wasn't really in my world. Came sweeping in, said, hey, I want to hire you. Did 2 rounds with me, and then was like, I love every single thing about this, and I'm done. I'm like, okay, I love this. So good. It was so good. Leadership consultant for Fortune 500s. So brilliant woman, actually Fortune 50 clients. And she was, oh my God, she was going through so much effort. She was a fellow wise strategist, for any wise strategists out there. This mirror of crap. I'm seeking other people's approval. I'm giving my power away is huge. It's huge for everybody. It's huge for wise strategists too. So, because it leads to the hollowing out. So then it becomes a vicious circle of both, and it's just not good. So she'd prepare for weeks for a single presentation. Okay, Fortune 50, a few hundred people in the room, absolutely makes so much sense. Unfortunately, she dragged that back in to a weekly program that she had for ourselves and her leadership groups at these companies. So she was way over preparing. It would take her like 3 days to prepare for like an hour and a half session. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. We had to get her to believe in herself and know that she was the one that held the expertise. She was the one that held the excellent advice. She was the one that held the information that people were seeking from her. She was the one that held the power in the room. She owned the meeting. And we extended it to go even further, that the agenda was in the room. So prepare a really brief outline, but then everything good is going to come up in the room, and you know enough for that to be true. And of course, you know what happened. It was like raving fans, because her sessions became so incredibly impactful that people, I mean, her company grew exponentially because of that. So when you're thinking about giving your power away, most people go to the equation of, I'm going to people please. And that's why I, in particular, demonstrated something that wasn't that. It was a little bit different than that. Same origin, same underpinning, but it looks a little bit different because, I'm over preparing because I feel that they have more power than I do. So you're giving your power to them. Taking your power back for yourself and realizing who really owns the room, and then taking that leadership stance to the point that you don't need to prepare. That is the bottom line here. Okay, the third mirror. I call it the pushing mirror. So you're basically pushing, it could be pushing people, pushing money, pushing ideas, pushing audience. It's like basically you're pushing things away. You can do it through procrastination. I am going to, someday I will. Or you can push through, I need to, where that makes it feel super heavy. So then you don't want to do it. It results in the same procrastination, but I just wanted to split the hairs on that because I can. But it also comes from pushing people away from something that you truly desire. So you're basically giving your power out to like a future date. You're giving it up, you pushing your power away, giving it out to something that hasn't materialized yet. You're giving your power to, like, you're basically minimizing it in the present. So you're not really owning it. That's a huge one. So you're actually pushing your power away so that you don't have it. Now, I'm an intuitive visionaries. Intuitive visionaries do this all the time. You're pushing your power away through distractions. You're pushing your power away through like innovating another idea that people don't want or need or isn't even yours. Yeah, not awesome. So, what we want to do for this is we want to ensure that whether it's through procrastination or whether it's through over efforting, that we are not pushing things away from our ability to receive. So, this, if you do the through line for this, this is about asking for what you want. I know. It doesn't seem like it's a through line, but just let me take you through it. I'll take you through an example if I can think of one. Say you want to make, I'm just going to use one that so many people come to me. They're at mid to high sixes and they want to go to low sevens. So they're in low sevens and they want to go to mid sevens or high eights, right? So I'll use a high eight example. Your goal is $10 million and you're at 3. So, okay, great. You're amazing success because you got to $3 million. That's awesome. And yet when I look at what's happening and why you can't get to the 10, it doesn't matter whether it's a marketing, lead, sales, support system. That doesn't matter. That comes second. I look at what is first happening. So I look at what is first happening, and it's always an energetic misalignment. And in this case, because you have achieved a certain level of success, it is most likely the pushing mirror. Now, if you came to me and you were in the 300,000, you want to get to $1 million, it might not be the pushing mirror. It might. But in the case of the 3 million to the 10 million, it is 90% of the time it's the pushing mirror. So then I start looking at how you're talking and how you are responding to a conversation I'm having with you. So the way the pushing mirror will happen is either you've reached a certain point and now you're exhausted, so you're absolutely, and sometimes the procrastination is necessary, but we're going to have it be massively proactive and massively positive for you versus negative and eroding, right? For real. I'm going to use an example that isn't that, though. I will start to hear things like, yes, someone talks, they're super clear about what they do. They're absolutely crystal clear. And I call it the 3. So it's either the third thing they said or the third minute they're talking. And you can notice this with your people because you'll be like, huh. So with the CEO facilitator that I had, she was a mentor of mine a handful of years ago. And it's actually 20 years ago now, Jesus. I absolutely adore her. She would always say, it's the third thing. Listen for the third thing. So they'll say blah, blah, blah. They have their first perfect articulation. And then what it sounds like is they start doing word salad. So it's, here I am and I'm a scaling strategist and I do this program and it is amazing. And I have these types of clients. And I have this program that really works at this level. And that's really great. And I have these many clients. Wait for it. And I'm like, no, literally no. So then they say the and they say the whatever. And then they'll follow up. Now there's a fourth thing. Now there's a fifth thing. Now there's a sixth thing. No, bzz, absolutely not. So what I'll then find out is, yes, we've had success at the first thing and the second thing, but now we are in the law of diminishing returns and there's really no success. But there's tons of effort and tons of churn going on all these things because we're just thinking the replication can work. No, we're just pushing our success away. So the formula is, I don't know, because I need to look at your energy, because your internal energetic imprint must equal or surpass your goals and objectives and your expectations and your targets. So the pushing mirror, you just notice, oh my God, start noticing when you do it, start noticing when other people do it. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. In fact, I had a woman who did need to take some respite, so it looked like she was procrastinating. And I'm like, no. She's like, yeah, I feel like I am. I'm just pushing things off. I'm like, no, you're not. Let's look at this. We had to energetically realign her, get her to take a pause moment. We actually had to pull back from a business that she had because she had two. We pulled out of one, put it in an incubator for like 2 years. And then we didn't even take it out, as a matter of fact, because it wasn't even her thing. She did it before she met me, which is fine. It could have been her thing, though. We could have revisited it. But now she's got this huge opportunity that, she was kind of in the mid to low six figures. Now she's got $1 million opportunity that is real, is happening, is like done, like in the can, already done. Yay. So it felt like, I'm procrastinating. No, it was you needed to gather your energy, stop pushing your energy. And now that you've got your energy and you're calibrated to that 7-figure level, that's when the opportunity comes and that's when the yes comes and that's when the final contract comes. In this case, it was a final contract. Okay. Fourth mirror, the hiding mirror. So this is where everybody nods to. 100%. Yep. Hiding. How are you hiding? How are you hiding? And if you know me, you know that I can tell you 90 stories about this, which I won't bore you with, but this is the refusal to take up space. This is minimizing your achievements. This is hiding your expertise. This is asking for permission to exist in rooms that you have every single right to be in. This is, and I use different examples than the not showing up on video online because everybody overuses that example. When people think of visibility, they're like, oh my God, I've got to go do video. I'm not saying not to, because yes, that's part of it, but I just used all these different examples, right? Not nourishing yourself first thing in the morning. Not taking your time to do whatever morning routine you have. Believe it or not, that's hiding, because now you're going to erode your energy the whole day, so you're going to stop showing up. Exact through line for that. So when I talk about showing up and not hiding, I'm talking about feeding yourself first, absolutely nourishing you so that you can grow your energy and feel empowered and really stand in your authority. Now go out into the world. Oh yeah. That's where you're in the flow. That's where the goodness comes for you. And that's where things that are right for you happen. So whether your mirror is hollow or giving or pushing or hiding, these aren't character flaws. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing to quote unquote fix. These are invitations for you to evolve. These are moments that you can observe and you could say, guess what? I get to do something different with this and I can step through this, or I can overcome this. Yep. That's exactly the point. So just start observing what you're doing. That's literally the first thing. The reason why I released this episode at this time is because December of 2025 is the perfect month for observation. Whenever you're listening to this episode, though, it is an invitation to observe and then to accept and then to respond. Because we all have these. We're human. And with the pressures that are there, we're feeling that overwhelm. So we're going to react instead of just respond. So let's observe to see how our reactions are happening, and let's make fewer those and more really positive responses, because you are way too important in this world to be giving your power, to be hollowing it out, to be pushing it away, or to be hiding from it. So with that, thank you so much, as always, for listening and for sharing with friends and for standing in your power. Until next time, happy soul tidings. You've been listening to the Strategic Oracle, where success isn't scaled from speed, but from soul. If this stirred something real, follow it. Apply for activation, enter the vault, or pause right here. Integration is leadership too. Because the truth is, you were never meant to chase the timing. You are meant to become it.